Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. I can't say video, another. Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. There we go. Easier said than done. And yeah, this is a reaction to another US type video, and the video is how US states got their shapes. And this has been suggested a lot recently, like a lot. And I am interested in seeing it because when you look at like the states, when you see the map and you see the states, it's weird to me how some of the states are so like the state lines are so straight, and others are sort of like just like squiggles isn't the right word, but like they're just not straight, if you know what I mean. But I guess that's because some of them are like the state lines are rivers and stuff. But I don't know, I'm just interested in seeing it because this is like a historical and geographical type video together, and I mean, I don't know, it could be quite fun to see really. But I've had a lot of suggestions for this, so I'm definitely interested in getting into this one. The only issue is I don't know much about this channel, and I searched this up, and on YouTube there was no real other options, so this was like the top one. So I apologise if this isn't the best video out there, but this is the one that I saw really. But I mean, he's a small channel, so give him some love. He's got 683 subs. Get him to 700. I'd appreciate that a lot, honestly. I'd appreciate that a lot because I know these videos get a lot of views, and again, I just appreciate it really. But let's get into this one. Let's see what this is about, and yeah, let's just check it out. Quick shout out to my Instagram, quick shout out to my Twitter. Links all in the description for those who want to follow me on those. But let's get into this one, man.
The United States, the home of McDonald's, Facebook, football, and Donald Trump. Of course, when you see a world map, we can recognize
What a random four things he's just put
the
there.
shape of the mainland United States, but also we know that Hawaii and Alaska are part of the United States. Actually, the U.S. is comprised of 50 different states, from the very forest-dense
His voice seems quite slow, like he's on delay or something. Wait, let me just try this.
Washington state to the sunny beachy coast of
Yo.
Florida. When we see that Hawaii
Wait, it actually works. Is it me or does this actually sound like how it should be?
Alaska are part of the United States. Actually, the U.S. is comprised of 50 different states, from the very forest-dense Washington state to the sunny beachy coast of Florida. When we see a map of the United States with state lines drawn on, you can definitely notice that the borders are perfect lines. Actually, some of the states are square-shaped. Now, if we compare with China, which they call provinces, they have 34 in total. 31 of them are administrative, 2 special, and 1 disputed. The disputed one is Taiwan, a subject that deserves a whole video on its own. But if you look at China, you will notice that none of them have any straight lines, and definitely
Turn it down a little bit. So when it's straight lines, I'm guessing that means it's not disputed and it's just that is it. And when it's like sort of squiggly, like I keep saying squiggly lines, these kind of lines where it's just a bit like up and down, that's where like certain states probably claim certain bits or provinces claim certain bits, etc. So I'm guessing the straighter the lines, the better like the sort of, I don't know how to say it. Just basically, the more definitive the states are.
none of them are squared. So how did the states get their shapes?
Maybe not.
There
That
are
might be
some
wrong
states
completely.
that have very distinctive shapes that if shown on their own, not on a map, they would be very recognizable, like Florida, Texas, and California. But do you know which state this is? This one? Or even this one? Very
How do you
likely
know?
not. Many states, especially in the Midwest, are shaped like a square more than anything else. However, to teach you how the states got their shapes, we'll have to go back in time. The consensus is that there are 4 main reasons that influence the creation of the borders of each state. The American Revolution, the construction of the railroad tracks, the 1808 proposal for the Erie
It seems really loud. I don't know, I keep doing this. Let me go back a little bit.
State, the American Revolution, the construction of the railroad tracks, the 1808 proposal for the Erie Canal, and the political controversies over the issue of slavery. The very first states were the first 13 colonies. Colonization began in Virginia in 1607 through Georgia in 1732. It took a little over 120 years for the English to work their way north and south from Virginia to colonize what became the 13 colonies. Of course, looking at this map, we notice the borders of these colonies are not the same ones that we have today. Most of those early borders have been set using geographical boundaries. For example, New Hampshire and Vermont are separated by the Connecticut River, and to this day, that
is
border
it.
is still intact.
Some are by rivers, like I sort of said, and some are just or other issues, but I guess these sort of ones are more likely rivers than not.
There are many more examples where state borders end and begin with rivers like New York and Vermont, Pennsylvania and New Jersey, Washington and Oregon. Actually, 34 of the 50 states are separated by rivers.
So it actually literally is that, other than obviously Cali and the coastal states. But other than that, it is literally all straight lines, isn't it? And actually, no, Idaho, I'm guessing that's to do with the mountains. What other ones is there that I could see? That's pretty much it, isn't it? Oh, North Carolina and Tennessee, should I say. And also South Carolina and North Carolina.
The Railroad Revolution was also a huge factor in determination of state borders, mainly in the Midwest states. The railroad facilitated the transportation of goods throughout the United States, but it wasn't until 1861 that the railroad track construction made their impact. In Colorado, a gold rush brought more than 100,000 people to the area. At the time, Colorado was not a state and did not become one until 1871. Colorado's gold rush was so economically impactful that in 1867, the Union Pacific Railroad laid the first railroad tracks in Colorado, which consisted of 8.9 miles crossing through Colorado territory to and from Nebraska, near Julesburg, Colorado. When determining the size of Colorado, Congress wanted to make it smaller than the people of Colorado wanted. But they pushed hard for Congress to extend Colorado's borders to the west, towards what is current-day Oregon. The people wanted this because that is where most of the gold mines were. To make things clear, Colorado people didn't argue in Congress for their borders extension, but because they became so wealthy from the mines, they had power. If Congress would have disapproved the request, the gold mines would have been Oregon's. The railroad industry flourished because a lot of tracks passed by the gold mines to carry the gold to different locations throughout the United States. Back in the East, the biggest engineering marvel of its time that shaped commerce on the east coast of the United States, known as the Erie Canal. The canal had a huge influence how certain states were shaped. The canal extends from Albany, New York to Lake Erie. The initial canal extended over 363 miles long, 40 feet wide, and on average 4 feet deep. There were some more later addition canals like the Oswego Canal, Champlain Canal, and Cayuga-Seneca Canal. The Erie Canal is the main reason why New York became the largest financial hub of the United States. Its construction began in 1817 and did not finish until 1825. It cost $7 million. That's well over $400 million.
Oh, inflation's hit me like a bitch. $400 million, god damn.
In today's money. The main reason the Erie Canal was so important in shaping some states in the United States is because it revolutionized the way we did waterway shipping, reduced its costs, and opened the east to the west. Waterways shipping was limited because commerce could only be done between small cities that were located close to these lakes. The small size of these cities meant that the products for those cities manufactured were limited as well. We are talking about cities with population size of 100 to 500 people. The big cities like New York had the products, just no way to reach the west. Also, the cost of waterway shipping was really expensive at the time. It cost around $100 to transport 1 ton of material from Buffalo to New York City. After the canal opened, the shipping cost went under $6 a ton. The geographic challenges that people faced at the time were hard to overcome without the canal. You see, back in the early 1800s, the East was cut off from the West. Most of the East Coast population was between the Appalachian Mountains and the Atlantic Ocean. You have to remember, back then, there were no cars, no railroads, and the ships at the time were small, so a road trip would have to be done on horses or walking, and at the time it was nearly impossible to go through the Appalachian Mountains. Thanks to the canal, the East was able to ship to all of these new places. Let's say a farmer had a ton of potatoes that they wanted to ship to the city of Duluth, Minnesota from New York City. The farmer sent his product in a 4-horse carriage. The 150-mile trip would reach the Erie Canal. From here, the potatoes will be loaded into a barge, and then its trip begins through the canal until it reaches Buffalo. Here, the barge enters Lake Erie and travels 241 miles across the lake, then enters the Detroit River. From here, the barge enters Lake St. Clair's. 26 miles later, it enters Lake Huron, then Lake Superior, until it reaches the city of Duluth, Minnesota. So, as you can see, the Erie Canal opened the waterways from New York to all this huge new area.
So you can see why, like, the supply from New York, this kind of era, and this kind of these back in this day, would have been huge for the rest of the US in general. This is so. I was never expecting to learn about like canals and stuff, but you actually learn about the importance of it, and it actually sort of makes you realize, like, god damn, it makes sense as to why New York is now one of the most powerful cities, if not the most powerful city in the world.
Bypassing the Appalachian Mountains and creating shipping lanes where more products and people were able to travel through. So far, we know that rivers, the Erie Canal, and railroads shape the states, but we still have the straight line borders missing. We can attribute that to the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson. He possessed an equality mentality throughout society. As president, he suggested to Congress that all states should be equal in size and using longitude and latitude coordinates to set the states' sizes. Congress disregarded Jefferson's suggestion.
See, I hear that, and I'm kind of like, that does make sense, but I'm guessing I'm going to hear why now. Because there's some states that are so small. But then I guess it would also mean states like Hawaii or Alaska, it wouldn't make sense because, like, they'd be smaller or too big. And if it was, you had to be a certain size to be a state, it wouldn't make sense in the current day. I guess that is kind of a good point if that is what it is, but maybe it's not.
About equal size for all states, but they did use latitude and longitude coordinates to establish state lines. As we know, the state lines are not straight because the Earth is a globe. When you see the...
That is true. I remember actually watching a video. Someone was telling me, it was like to do with time zones, and it was like, it went like this, and then went like that, and I was like, wait, why is that happen? But then someone obviously told me, it is actually straight in terms of the globe, but because, like, it's a sphere, I can't say the word, it does make sense as to why, like, the lines aren't completely straight in certain areas and just all that kind of stuff, but that's actually true, actually. But then how did they even gauge this back in the day? Like, I don't know how they would have even managed to sort of realise, okay, the Earth's a globe, so let's make this a bit like this, and just stuff like that. I don't know, but maybe I'll see it in the future.
The US map, all the state lines are parallel to the latitude and longitude lines. Some of these border lines are so long that they go through 3 states before they stop at another state. Also, slavery had something to do with how the states were drawn. As we know, the southern states slavery was legal, while in the northern states slavery was illegal. In 1820, Congress enacted the Missouri Compromise. At the 36-degree 30 minutes north parallel, all states north of this line, slavery was illegal. Anything south of the parallel, slavery was legal. Congress wanted to add Maine to the Union, but in order to have equal number of free and slave states, Missouri was the only state north of the parallel that was a slave state. Texas's panhandle used to be bigger than it is today, but they wanted to keep slaves, so they gave up some land to Oklahoma. Now, 2 honorable mentions are Texas and California. They chose their own state lines, and when they submitted their borders to Congress, it was not a request, but a take it or leave it deal. Both states had large populations. Also, California had a lot of gold mines, so they were very wealthy. And Texas was an agricultural and minerals-rich state. If Congress didn't approve both states' borderlines, they were going to separate into their own countries and would not join the Union. So, as we know, Congress approved. It took many fights, arguments, wars, geographical limits in this landscape to set the state lines that we know today. Most people don't even think how the states got their shapes, but as we explained, a lot of financial conflicts and societal issues had a lot to do in the creation of the state borders we have today. States change their borders all the time, so don't be surprised if there's a new state line or if there's even new states in the future.
Is that true? They change their like, states change their state lines even in the current day. That's kind of crazy. I enjoyed this though. Honestly, this is for someone with 683 subs, this is a really good video. Give him some love, man. I'm going to subscribe to him. I mean, I don't know if he posts anymore, but I mean, subscribe to him. Give him some love. Get him to 700. I'd really appreciate that. Let's just see some of the comments. The square states aren't in the Midwest. The eastern ones, yeah, but most aren't. The most square states like Wyoming and Colorado aren't Midwest state. Colorado extended to current day Oregon. It's Utah. Oh, he got it wrong, I guess. 128. I would be very concerned if America wasn't able to point out these states. Maryland, Illinois, Colorado. I have pretty much memorized the map of USA because of the election. Very informative. Maryland, Illinois, Colorado, I think. There is already snow about this. There is already a show about this. Wait, there's a show? What do you mean there's a show about it? Wait, so what is this show that someone's telling me about? I don't know what this show is. How US... Oh, it's individual states. Wait, is it Netflix? Wait. Oh my god. Well, I'm confused. It was by history, but I'm just... Oh, it's blocked in my country, I see. Nah, that makes sense. I was like, wait, why are these all gone? They're all blocked in my country. That's such a shame. That's such a shame, though. That's that then, I guess. Makes sense as to why, but it was blocked here. Damn it. I'd love to see that. But, I mean, still, I did enjoy that video nevertheless. And hopefully you guys did as well. What are your thoughts on this? Like, it is interesting how the lines are just so definitive. Like, it's just so clean cut. Like, and you see the one in China, the one of the regions in China, and they're all like sort of squiggled. I keep saying squiggled, I don't know the right term, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, they just, I feel like when it's like sort of up and down and like not straight lines, it's obviously in dispute in a sense. Maybe not. I don't actually know at that point. But I mean, yeah, interesting video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Suggest more things like this in the future because I do really enjoy these types of reactions. And until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.